Secretary of State Mike Pompeo asks the United Nations today to reimpose tough restrictions on Iran. Pompeo cites the Islamic Republic's refusal to comply with UN resolutions by testing ballistic missiles. Correspondent Wyatt Goolsby reports from the State Department. Good evening, Wyatt.
Good evening, Lauren. In an address to the UN, Secretary Pompeo laid out his concerns. He says Iran has done nothing to show it's complying with UN resolutions. Now Pompeo says the UN needs to push for stiffer penalties.
When we collectively call upon Iran to cease its ballistic missile activity, we must agree to stop it now. But Iran is as defiant of the world's insistence as ever.
Secretary Mike Pompeo made a special trip to New York today to address the UN Security Council. His biggest concern? Iran's testing of ballistic missiles capable of delivering nuclear weapons.
Its suspected range also approaches 2,000 kilometers, which is far enough to target Athens, Sofia, Bucharest, and other major European cities.
European countries agree that Iran must stop its missile testing and its wider support for terrorism in the Middle East. But most say they want to use the framework of the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, which the Trump administration rejects. The U.S. is worried about the government's rhetoric. The president has threatened to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, the passageway for nearly a third of all oil traded by sea. Iran's Navy has acquired 2 new mini-submarines designed to launch missiles and torpedoes. For Catholics and other religious minorities in Iran, the threat of military conflict is the least of their worries. Outside of the 4 walls of any church, Christians face discrimination and don't have equal access to education, government programs, and the armed services. It's not unusual that Christians go missing or are killed for openly preaching the gospel.
The State Department announced this week that Iran will remain on the list of countries of particular concern. That means officials here consider Iran to be one of the worst violators of religious freedom in the world, like imprisoning someone just for being a Christian. Now, some evangelical groups tell U.S. officials they are harassed and closely monitored by the government in Iran. Lauren?
Correspondent Wyatt Goolsby reporting from the State Department. Thanks, Wyatt.